I got a little overzealous there and extended it too far. Let's see what the contents of this corridor is. An 11. Here we go. We're going to roll on the boss table. Then roll d6. Add +1 for every boss or weird monster that you've encountered so far in the game if your total is 6 or more, or if the dungeon layout is complete. This is the final boss. Well, let's hope this isn't the final boss. First, let's roll a 6-sided die for our boss table. And we got a 6. On the boss table, a 6 is a small dragon. It's a level 6 creature with 5 life points. If we defeat it, we get 3 treasure rolls. But the dragon, on each turn, rolls a d6 to determine what it does. On a 1 or 2, it breathes fire, inflicting 1 life to all characters who fail their savings throw. On a 3 to 6, the dragon doesn't breathe, but bites 2 random characters instead. Small dragons are never met as random monsters. We might want to wait and see what happens here. We could do the reaction. A 1, it's sleeping, then we can attack. On a 2 or a 3, it'll ask for a bribe, which is all of our gold with a minimum of 100 gold, or we'd have to give up a magic item, which we don't have. 4 or 5, it fights, and 6, it gives us a quest. So 1 would be good, 6 would be good. 2 and 3, we can't bribe it because we don't have enough gold. So I think if we fail the bribe, it's going to attack. So 2, 3, 4, 5, that's not good. Let me think about it. We can't afford the bribe. So a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5 is going to cause us to fight. A 1 means it's sleeping, and a 6 gives us a quest. So maybe our best option is to run away right now. I don't think we have the ability to take this thing out. I mean, the wizard does have a lightning bolt, which is good against bosses. Alright, I don't want to fight this dragon right now. So we can withdraw or run away. We can withdraw from this room because we came through a door. Because you can only withdraw when they have a door to slam shut between themselves and the monster. So we're going to withdraw back into this corridor. But during our withdrawal, the monster gets to strike once at the characters. But we have a +1 to our defense rolls. But we don't know what the dragon's going to do. Is it going to breathe or attack? So we have to roll to see what it does. On a 1 or a 2, it breathes fire. On the other rolls, it'll attack twice. Oh, it's going to attack 2 random characters. We'll roll both of these to see who it attacks. It's going to bite. It says 2 random characters. So it's going to bite 2 different characters. We'll go with our marching order. Barbarian, Dwarf, Wizard, Rogue. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. A 5 or a 6 I'll re-roll. So it bites the Dwarf and the Barbarian. But that's at a +1 to our defense because we're withdrawing. The dragon is a level 6. First, let's look at our Barbarian. +1 and +1 because of his armor and shield. And he's going to get an additional +1 because we're withdrawing, so he needs to at least get a 7. 5 plus 3 is 8, perfect. And remember, a 6 is always success on defense. And the dwarf, well, no plus on the defensive roll, but +2 for armor and +1 for the withdrawal. 4, 5, 6, 7, perfect. That was a successful withdrawal from that possibly horrible encounter, but we did move into an area we've been before, so I believe we have to roll to see if a wandering monster appears. No. So to avoid rolling again, because we're entering an area we've been, we're going to move to the east here and see what lies beyond this corridor. And it's a 22. The 22 is a 3x3 room, and we're coming in on a corridor, so we would rotate it that direction, because you can rotate rooms, but we're not going to be able to build the whole room. because we're at the edge of the map, but that's okay. We can go ahead and draw our room, and it's going to be quite small, so we would have and that's what you get. You go ahead and create the room just like you would ignore any passages or doors that lead off the edge of the map, and you just cut the room short. Again, this was a new section, so I'll put a couple little dash marks there to remind me of that. And this is not very wide, it's only one, so this is going to be a corridor instead of a room for our contents check. 5. A 5 is going to be empty, and we get to roll on the special features table again. Special features is a d6, and we got a 1. And we have found another fountain. And further fountains have no effect anyway. What is up with the architect of this dungeon and water features? Really likes those fountains. Alright, we have no choice but to retrace our steps now. We're going to go back into this corridor and then back into this corridor. I don't want to fight that dragon, so the first corridor, wandering monster check. And it's a 1, so we will be attacked by the wandering monster, and I forgot to change my marching order. So the wizard and rogue are in the rear. Wandering monsters are handled on page 57. There's a small table here. We can see on a 1 or a 2, we get vermin, 3 or 4, minion, 5, weird, 6, boss. Again, we wouldn't run into another dragon here. The wandering monster can't be our final boss. Well, let's see what we get. Well, we're hoping for some vermin since we have our weakest characters in the rear. And of course not, we're going to get some minions. We'll roll a d6 for our minions. And it's going to be skeletons or zombies again. Let's see, 1, 2, or 3 will be skeletons. This time we got zombies. And it says d6 total. And there's only 1. Wow, that's extremely lucky. The zombies sneaking up on us, so it's going to either attack the wizard or the rogue. Our 2 rearmost characters are being attacked, so the wizard will be 1, 2, 3, rogue 4, 5, 6. The zombie attacks the rogue. The zombie is a level 3 creature. Our rogue gets to add his level to the defense. If he was using a shield, it would not help him because it's a sneak attack. And he gets +1 for his light armor. So he's going to add 2 to his roll. 4 plus 2 is 6. He only needed higher than a 3. He successfully defended. Since we're in a corridor and it's narrow, only 2 characters or 2 monsters can fight. And since it came at our rear, only the wizard and rogue can fight. We'll start with the rogue and have the rogue attack. There are less minions than there is party, so he's going to get +1 to his attack roll. But again, he just has a dagger, so it's going to equal out. He's going to roll, and he needs at least a 3. Nope, didn't get it. We'll do the same thing with the wizard, except our wizard's not using a spell, and his staff is at a -1. So he's going to need at least a 4 to be successful. And he failed also, which means the zombie attacks again. Again goes after the rogue. Rogue's got +2 on defense. Succeeds. We can attack again. We'll flip it this time and start with the wizard, since he has the more difficult time. So he's going to need at least a 4. And he got it that time. Actually, he'd get to roll again. So he got a 10, -1 for his attack, gave him a 9. Perfect. Another, well, it's considered a group of minions. We got another minion encounter survived. So that's 2 on our way to 10. We survived our wandering monster encounter with the zombies. Now we have to backtrack into this section again. So we have to check to see if we're going to have another wandering monster. Well, no, I don't have to reconfigure my marching order. I'm going to go back to barbarian, dwarf, wizard, rogue, because this is a room. So if a wandering monster appears, there's plenty of room. Let's see if we have a wandering monster. No, we don't. So now we have to head in this direction, because I do not want to go back in here and mess with the dragon right now. So we'll head in this direction and see what we're going to encounter when we go further down to the west. Roll our dice. and get a 35. And we're quickly running out of options because there's nowhere else to go after this, because 35 is going to take us into a room with no exits. The room for 35 won't quite fit, but we'll go ahead and draw it in. Now we have to see what we have inside this room. And we combine them for a 9. Oh no, I already know what that is. On our room contents table, a 9 is empty. But we're going to check it anyway to see if it's really empty. Alright, here we go. It's a 3, which means the room is empty. Well, that's not good for us. We've searched this room. I was hoping to get something. I would have chose a secret door this time, because this means we have to backtrack. And that reminds me, let me put my dash marks in so we know our areas. So we're going to need to backtrack through 2 areas, and then we need to face the dragon. So this might be a very short game if we can't take that dragon out. First, we'll backtrack through here and then to here. We're tracking back to our main entrance area, and we do not have a wandering monster there. And now the corridor outside the dragon's room, we're going to flip our marching order to wizard, rogue, and then barbarian, dwarf. That way the stronger characters are in the rear, and there's no wandering monster there either. Now we've safely backtracked through here to here, and now we're standing outside this door, getting ready to go in and face the dragon. Okay, we should get ready here. We're going to be heading into this room with the small dragon there. That's a level 6 boss with 5 life points. And we remember it can do a breath attack or bite us. We have more than one course of action we could take here. We can go in and try and roll on the reaction table. And we know on there, only the 1 and the 6 will help us. And then we'd get into a fight and the dragon would get to go first. Or we could go in and just attack and use our wizard's powers here, because he has spells. He has a sleep spell and a lightning bolt spell, which work very well for bosses. The sleep spell, if we are successful, just outright defeats the boss. The lightning bolt, while it doesn't outright defeat him, if the lightning bolt is successful, it causes 2 damage to a boss. So I think our best course of action will be to kick the door in and just outright attack instead of waiting to see what the dragon will do, and see if we can survive this and continue on through our dungeon. We kick the door in and just rush at the dragon and attack. I'm going to start with my other characters before we get to the wizard. That way we can save his spells if we're doing well without him. The barbarian will go first and attack. He's going to add his level to his attack roll. Again, this is a level 6 creature, so we're going to need at least a 6 to be successful, which is not going to be easy, especially for the barbarian. He only gets a +1. Alright, barbarian, here's your chance to attack, and fails miserably. That's only a 3. Next, the dwarf is going to rush in with his warhammer and attack. The dwarf is a little better equipped for this attack. He's going to get +1 because of his level, because he's not using a ranged weapon. And he has his warhammer that's going to give him another +1. So he's going to get a +2 to his roll. Again, we need a minimum of 6. Oh, that is leaning. But if it would have kept going, it would have gone to the 1, which is pitiful. Well, our rogue is going to give it a shot. The rogue is going to attack. This is not a minion, so he gets no bonus here. And his weapon is at a -1. So the only thing that will help is a 6. So we can use the explosive 6 roll over and over again to hopefully build up extra damage. The only thing that's going to be successful here is a 6. And he did not get it. That is actually a 1. So it takes us to the wizard. And now we have to choose. Do we want to go with sleep or lightning bolt? He's going to get +1 because he's attacking with a spell. And that's the only bonus that we're going to get. So I say we go with sleep, because if we're successful, the dragon is defeated outright. If we go with a lightning bolt, we just do 2 damage and the dragon attacks. So let's go for it and cast his sleep spell. We need some luck here. The wizard needs a 5 or a 6 A 5 is successful because he has a +1 because he's attacking with a spell. No! He missed by 1. That is not good. That means the dragon is angry and is now going to attack. We have to roll a 6-sided die. On a 1 or 2, the dragon breathes fire. Anything else, he will try to bite 2 random adventurers. No dragon breath weapon here, so we have 2 random characters we need to select. And again, we'll go 1 through 4 in the order of barbarian, dwarf, wizard, rogue, and we'll re-roll a 5 or a 6. So that's a 2 and a 3, so the dwarf and the wizard will get attacked. We'll start with the dwarf. This is a level 6 monster. He has heavy armor that's going to give him +2, and he needs a really good roll anyway because we have to get higher than the level. So only a 5 or a 6 will be a successful defense. The dwarf rolls a 3, so he will take a wound. Our wizard will now go. He has nothing that's going to help him on defense. His only hope is to roll a 6 for an automatic defensive success. Wizard rolls. Oh, a 5, so close. So the wizard's going to take a wound and take him down to 2 life. We'll do another round against the dragon before we entertain the option of running away. Instead of withdrawing back from the direction we came, maybe running past the dragon and out one of those doors. But when that happens, the dragon gets a free attack also. So let's go ahead and see if we can make some progress here to defeat this dragon. Again, we'll start with the barbarian and attack with a +1. Alright, barbarian, let's do this. No good. Man, this group is not good at combat. The dwarf will now attack, and he gets a +2 because of his level and two-handed warhammer. And I meant to say he adds his level because he's not using a ranged weapon. He doesn't get a +1 because of his level. Nice. So that is 5 + 2 for 7, and that is more than 6. So we finally have wounded this dragon. We've inflicted our first wound on the dragon, who still has 4 life points remaining. If we can get the dragon down to only 2 life points, when they go below half of their original total, their level drops 1, which would make him a little bit easier to fight. Our rogue is up, and again he's attacking with a dagger, so the only thing that helps here is if he can roll a 6. Well, there's always a chance. Let's go for it. No luck there. And our wizard will go again. I'll go ahead and use the lightning bolt. If we connect with that, that's going to be 2 wounds, which will be enough to drop this boss down a level. He is using his spell, so his attack roll will be +1. Alright, wizard, here we go. Let's do something good. Oh yes, a 6 plus a 1 is 7. The 6 was good enough on its own. This isn't a regular attack, so I'm not going to use the explosive 6 rule because you can't do multiples with the lightning spell. It's going to be 2 wounds to the dragon. Now we're making progress. That is 2 wounds. The wizard shoots that lightning bolt out, and that means this drops down to a 5th level boss. Not only does the boss lose one of its levels when it goes below half its initial life, it also has to do a morale check. If we roll a die, 1 6-sided die, and if it's 3 or less, the boss flees. In this case, it will flee, which is fine by me. Less chance to take damage, and when a creature flees, it still counts as defeated and we still get the gold anyway. We could do 1 free attack at +1 on a fleeing monster, but it's still going to count as a defeated boss, and we get the gold. The dragon may have ran away, but it leaves its treasure behind. 3 rolls on the treasure table at +1. It's a D6. So we'll roll 2 of them for 2 of them. So it's a 6 and a 3, so that's a 4 and a 7. And then the third one will be a 7 also. So on our treasure table, we're going to get 1 gem worth 2d6 times 5 gold and 1 random magic item. Well, actually 2 random magic items from the magic treasure table. Awesome. Let's take care of that gem first. 2d6 times 5. Alright, it's a nice gem. 2d6 times 5. 5 times 5 is a 25 gold piece gem that the dwarf will hold on to. And we're going to roll twice on the magic treasure table. So we'll just roll both of these. And we'll get a 5 and a 2. On the magic treasure table, the ring of teleportation is what we get for the 2. It allows the user to automatically pass a defense roll by moving that character out of the room. That character may not take part in the current combat, but rejoins the party soon after the combat is over. After one use, the ring loses its powers and becomes a simple gold ring worth 1d6 plus 1. And our 5 is a potion of healing. Can be swallowed at any moment, healing all lost life to a single character. Drinking it does not require an action. This is a one-use magic item, usable by all classes except barbarians. And that's part of the barbarian class. They may not use magic items, scrolls, or potions. They'll accept some healing, but that's about it. I decided to give the wizard the ring of teleportation since he's so low in health all the time. That way he has a chance to escape if things become desperate. And I gave the potion of healing to the rogue because he's next as far as characters with low life points. Also, since this boss has ran away and is counted as defeated, we get 1 XP roll. We have to decide who we want to attempt to level up. And here's where it explains it. You roll a die. If the result is higher than the character's current level, the character gains a level. And I'm going to make an attempt for the wizard. The wizard's level 1, so we have to roll higher than a 1. Perfect. The wizard is successful and levels up to level 2. When leveling up, the wizard will gain 1 life point, and you gain it immediately. So this is going to go up to a 4, and this is going to go up to a 3. The wizard is now level 2, can go up to a max of 4 life points, currently has 3, and whenever they level up, they can have an additional spell also, since they get 2 spells plus their level. He can use one right away as long as it's a spell that was in his spell book or in his repertoire. And he already had the ability and knew of Sleep, Lightning Bolt, and Fireball, so I chose to add another sleep spell back. The dragon ran away, so now we can choose a door to go out. And I'm going to choose to go out this door here to the left, and we'll see what's on the other side. And also, since we defeated a boss, next time we roll on the boss table, we're going to have to add 1 to it. On the other side of that door, we have 53. We're going to have a corridor branching off, and we're going to rotate it since we're going to be coming out that door, so it's going to go to the north and to the east. Coming out of that door, we come into a corridor, and we're back in our original marching order. We left the room with barbarian, dwarf, wizard, and rogue in that particular order. In that corridor, 5 and 5 is 10. And a 10 is, if it's a corridor, it's empty. Otherwise, we roll on the weird monsters table. Is it empty? Let's check. Remember, when checking if it's empty in a corridor, it's at a -1. And before we make our check, we're going to flip our order to wizard, rogue, barbarian, dwarf. That way, if we get a wandering monster, barbarian and dwarf are in the rear. 1d6 minus 1. We got a 2 minus a 1 is a 1 and a wandering monster. And we roll on our wandering monster table and gain a 1, which means we're going to be dealing with vermin. And we roll on the vermin table, which is a 1d6, and we get a 6. On the vermin table, that is 2d6 skeletal rats. They are level 3 undead, no treasure for them. Again, the crushing weapon gives us a +1. We don't have any bows or slings or clerics, so we don't have to worry about any of that. So we have to see how many of these nasty little skeletal rats there are. For vermin, we don't gain any XP points towards our 10 minions. They're just in a nuisance that's going to be a pain. So there is 7 of them. We are in a corridor, which means there can only be 2 attackers from each side. So we got the barbarian and the dwarf that are in the rear that are surprised by a group of 7 skeletal rats. So by the rules, only 2 skeletal rats can attack. One will attack each of those 2 characters, starting with the barbarian. With the wandering monster sneaking up on us, his shield cannot be used, so he's only going to get the defense of his light armor. This is a level 3 creature, so he needs at least a 4 or higher. Oh, that's an automatic success anyway. The dwarf doesn't have a shield, he just has his heavy armor, which is a +2 on defense. 4 + 2 is 6. That is fine. They both successfully fend off those attacks. And now they can attack. But remember, we're stuck in a corridor, so we can only fight 2 at a time. So if we roll really high, we're still only going to take out 2 each time. The barbarian will attack with his axe, and he gets +1 for his level. And that is a 4. He takes out 1 of the skeletal rats. Another rat scurries forward to take his place. The dwarf will now attack. He gets +1 for his level because he's not using a ranged weapon, and his warhammer is +1, so that is a +2, which will give him a total of 5. Not quite enough to take out 2. Another skeletal rat is eliminated. Another one scurries forward, so 2 of them are in the corridor, now attacking the barbarian and dwarf. Now that he's no longer surprised, the barbarian can use his shield and his light armor, so he gets +2 to defend. Rolls a 6 total, that's more than enough. The dwarf, +2 to his heavy armor. Also a perfect roll, no problems there, and now they will turn the tables and attack, starting with the barbarian. Swinging his axe at these nasty little rats. Oh, I forgot. On the dwarf, oh, we'll correct it in a minute. We should have killed another skeletal rat because that was a crushing weapon with the dwarf, which would have took him up to 6. So we'll take another one off when we get to the skeletal rat sheet. So the barbarian is attacking with a +1. Rolls a 4 + 1 is a 5, so he can eliminate 1. Let's mark that other one that the dwarf would have taken out. So they're down to 4, and now the 1 for the barbarian. And now we are below half. We're down to 3, which means we have to do a morale check for skeletal rats. 3 or less, they flee. Oh, they take off. They're out of here. They scurry off into the cracks in the wall. Our wandering skeletal rats ran away. We already searched this area. I'm going to move to the north to expand the map in this direction, and we'll only come back here if we really have to. So let's see what's going on to the north here, and we will be going with the marching order of Barbarian, Dwarf, Wizard, Rogue. Alright, let's see what we have. We have a 64. 64 fits in perfect. We keep heading to the north and we'll enter a 2x3 room. This will get us a little further up on the map. Let's see what's in this room. 7. Now we're getting more action with our rolls. We're going to run into some minions. Alright. A 1. Well, that's our favorite, the undead. And we're going to have 2d6 + 2 skeletons or d6 zombies. So, as we normally do, 1, 2, and 3 are skeletons. And we have skeletons. 1d6 + 2, 5. Let's not forget this time that our crushing weapons will inflict an additional +1. This dungeon seems to be populated mostly by undead. We'll start with the dwarf this time, since he has that big warhammer. So he's going to get +1 for his level, and +1 for his warhammer, and +1 for a crushing weapon. Ugh, that's horrible. Well, luckily this is an attack, so that still counts. So he's going to get 4 total. That's enough to take out 1 skeleton. The dwarf takes out 1. They're going to fight to the death. There's no morale here. We have 4 left. Now we'll have the barbarian go. +1 for his attack roll. And that is it. He doesn't have a crushing weapon. So... oh, that's terrible too. Luckily he has that +1. So he is only going to take out 1 also. Another skeleton. Defeated. 3 remaining. We'll have our wizard go since he has a crushing weapon with his wizard staff. So the +1 to that, and then the -1 because it's a light hand weapon, equals out to a modifier of 0. Well, he got a 3. He took 1 out. This isn't the most efficient way to defeat them, but we're making progress. There's only 2 remaining. Maybe the rogue will spring into action here and just go crazy. He gets to add his level because there's more party members than minions, but he loses that bonus because his dagger is a -1. And he rolled a 4. He takes one out also. There is one lone skeleton remaining, and I'll have it attack the barbarian. It's a level 3 undead, and the barbarian has light armor and a shield. Oh, it's an automatic failure anyway. It wouldn't have been enough, so he's going to take a wound. Our barbarian takes his first wound from this single solitary skeleton left. The barbarian is now angry, so we'll let him go first and attack, adding his level on. Ugh, he missed. I guess he got knocked off balance by that light wound that he took. Our dwarf steps forward, super confident, got his warhammer, ready to attack at +2. Gets a 4 and takes out our final skeleton. The dwarf took care of business, eliminated our last skeleton, and that is 3 groups of minions taken care of, but sadly skeletons have no treasure. We'll get our marching order together, barbarian, dwarf, wizard, rogue, and we'll go ahead and see what's through this door to the north.